Could you kindly introduce yourself for me?
Yes, sure. My name is Zeyneb Sayılgan. I'm a fourth year doctoral student at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Was born originally in Germany and was raised there. And 2006, I moved to the U.S. to pursue my studies in interfaith studies.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your PhD and why you chose to do that subject?
That's a good question. My PhD is focusing mainly on the thought of Said Nursi and how he approached contemporary issues relevant also for our time. And I have a personal attachment to the work, so I'm really interested in furthering my own understanding. And so I'm not a disengaged reader, but I'm very much interested in deepening my knowledge on the Risale-i-Nur, which is the main work of Nursi.
So how did your journey start? I mean, what really interested you about knowing more about Sayyid Nursi and the Risale and everything?
Well, it started out with a very personal experience. I mean, as I said, I grew up in Germany, and which is a secular environment. Religion is not so much at the forefront. So, as a child of a very devout Muslim family, I was early on exposed to another world, which constantly raised questions about faith and reason, about Islamic rituals, about Islamic appearance, and so I was trying hard to address those questions, and found that I found myself on a level at some point of an identity crisis, because I was between these two worlds of traditional Muslim environment and then the outer world of a very secular world. So I was looking for more religious knowledge which addressed the intellect, the mind, and at the same time the heart and soul dimension. And somehow through a friend 9-10 years ago, I was introduced to the works of Nursi, and after listening and reading the works, it had a really profound impact on me. So that's why I actually was introduced and stayed.
So, what thoughts in particular really inspired you?
That's difficult to tell, because one of the papers in this conference dealt with the profound impact the Risale-i-Nur had on the early followers, the students. And what we've seen in one of these presentations was really there are so many things which influence you on a subconscious level. You can't really tell and specify what is changing, what is so transformative, because it's happening on many human levels. I mean, intellectually, of course, there are very stimulating elements, talking about how faith and science, can be reconciled in a modern period, or talking about very, very deep human realities of the self, of the ego, of human weakness, of emotions. So then there's this, and it's a very holistic approach of Nursi. He addresses he addresses a human being on so many levels that you can tell this is the one element which stayed with me. So it's really. But I think what is really profound is how he goes deeper and introducing an introspective method and showing you what it means to be a human being, how to deal with human feelings and emotions, how to deal with the human ego, the I, and then really put it into perspective what it means to have a healthy approach to the heart, the intellect, the mind. And so there are a lot of things going on when you read the Risale-i-Nur works. It's not just an intellectually effort, but it's a very spiritual and emotional adventure. One thing which is very fundamental in Nursi's thought and life experience is his Tawhidi paradigm. He's so infused with the notion of the unity of God. For him, it's not an abstract idea. He's living it out when he looks into the universe or into different Muslim communities or into a human being. He always sees that Tawhidi notion reflected. Now, what does it mean to live out the Tawhidi paradigm? Tawheed means to declare that God is one, but also to connect yourself to that oneness, and also to connect each and everything to each other on that basis. So, if we have sects, and or if we have different Muslim communities, and we insist on disunity or on a radical segregation, then we have not really understand what Tawheed means. Tawheed requires that you found a common basis on building relationships, and there is always a Tawheedi link. So when I look at an atheist, right, or when I have someone who disagrees with me, still the divine attributes of God are reflected with every human being, on every human being, and that many attributes of God, qualities, are reflected in different communities. And by realizing that every human being has an important puzzle, unique divine puzzle to provide, that Tawheed comes to fruition and is displayed fully. So you have a unique attribute of God, or you display a unique combination of God's qualities. I display unique combinations of God qualities coming together, creating that mosaic, that divine mosaic, brings the Tawhidi paradigm into existence. So that's why, from an Islamic point of view, Tawheed rejects disunity. It always builds upon connections and links. And Nursi really reflects on this by pointing to the universe all the time. So you see a unity in diversity reflected, but always relying on each other, responding to each other, and seeking each other's support. And that, microcosm, that macrocosmic example can be reflected in our lives too.
Absolutely. So in a word or two, or even a sentence or two, who is Sayyid Nursi to you?
Who is Sayyid Nursi to me? In many ways, someone or a mirror who reflects the struggle every individual is going through, especially in the modern period, and so the struggle of how to connect to God on a daily basis in every mundane, profane act, how to link yourself to Him, and then of course issues like faith and science or modernity, and a lot of Muslims live in a secular world, so he had that experience too. So in many ways he reflects the struggle many Muslims go through, and not only Muslims but a lot of non-Muslims have seen that. Christians in many ways also struggle with a very aggressive secular world where God is totally taken out of the center. So Nursi is really, in a way, a spiritual and intellectual master in showing how this all can be reconciled and how you can find your place in this sometimes very complex world.
Okay, great. So let's just talk a little bit more about the conference today. Obviously, you've attended the conference. This is the second day. What are you feeling, especially because you've met a lot of people from around the world who've come just to talk about Sayyid Nursi and present their papers? Especially students.
First of all, it's great to meet so many young scholars, academics from around the world. To see what's the state of Nursi studies in different parts of the world is a wonderful enrichment for my own studies, of course. And the conference provides a platform where we can exchange our ideas, further our thoughts, criticize each other's works. So I found that really stimulating. And also to create a network with these young scholars, because it's really a pioneering field. We are all out there it's an emerging field where you don't have a lot of expertise established. So you're really out there on this ground, and seeing people who are going through some of the same difficulties is really a big support.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you.